The March 3rd, 2025 meeting of the Bay City City Commission will come to order. The clerk will give the invocation, which will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Prince.
Here.
Coakley.
Here.
Bernie Obershaw.
Here.
Tenney. Hilliker.
Here.
DeWitt.
Here.
Runberg. Charlebois.
Here.
Morris.
Here.
Mayor.
Present. Is there a motion to excuse commissioners? Commissioner Prince.
I heard from Commissioner Tenney. He will not be here today due to a family situation. And then Commissioner Runberg is running a few minutes late. So I move to excuse Commissioner Tenney and temporarily excuse Commissioner Runberg.
Are there objections? Seeing none. Oh, there was a second. We want to go to the format? Okay, we've done it differently. Is there a second? So Commissioner DeWitt.
I'll second.
All right, any objection? Seeing none, those commissioners are excused. All right, we have a quorum. First item of business is proclamations. So this is a fun night. First time I get to introduce our St. Patrick's Day Queen's Court and everybody associated with the parade. How exciting. So why don't you come on up? Test, test, test. Okay, look at that. It works. And I get to read the proclamation, then we'll do introductions of everybody. Who else is all? Come on down.
We have a crowd.
That's right, that's right. We like crowd. Is that the Queen live in Florida? Queen Caitlin, look at that. Very nice by proxy. All right, so I have this proclamation from the City of Bay City. So whereas on Sunday, March 16th, 2025, the Sons, Daughters, and Friends of Ireland will be marching down Center Avenue for the 70th annual St. Patrick's Day Parade, where Irish tradition lives. And whereas this St. Patrick's Day Parade is our finest symbol of a heritage many of our own people bring from across the sea, and has proudly spread this spirit and our name throughout the land. And whereas this organization, including members with over 50 years of dedication and volunteer service, works all year long to build an outstanding parade year after year, whereas Liberty Starkweather-Smith will lead as parade marshal. Yay. That's right. Round of applause. Along with Queen Caitlin Morris, look at that, live from in Florida, I understand. Look at that. A little warmer, yes. And her court first runner-up, Madison Davis. And second runner-up, Alexa Malusi. And whereas Bay City Irish welcome us to the joy of this occasion by twinkling Irish eyes, lighting Irish song, and sturdy Irish friendship. Now, therefore, I, Christopher R. Gerard, Mayor of the City of Bay City, do proclaim the week of March 9th through 17th, 2025 as Irish Week in our community and urge all citizens to join us in saluting the Irish, especially on the St. Patrick's Day Parade. Yay! And I'm going to turn it over for introductions to make it.
Hello, I'm Megan Jurek, president of the Bay City St. Patrick's Day Parade Association. I'd like to thank the mayor, the city commissioner, city manager, and our two major sponsors this year, Tri-County Area Building Trades and Consumers Energy, and the rest of Bay City for all of their support this year. It's really been an amazing turnout so far. So thank you very much, and I will pass the mic so we can introduce our vice president.
My name is Grace Sales. I'm the Vice President of the Parade Association and a former 2020 Queen.
Hi. So, my name is Liberty Starkweather-Smith, and I am your 2025 Parade Marshal. I also was a former Queen in 2024, so 22 years later. 2004. See, this is why we are together and work as a group well. Yes. So here we are. Please note the date if you haven't already. Sunday the 16th is going to be sunny, so bring your sunscreen because that's what's in the weather forecast. Whether you hear it differently on WNM TV5, that's what it is going to be. But we have a wonderful group of elected officials, and then also our individuals who are part of our sponsorship pageant and our scholarship pageant, and we're just looking forward to an absolutely exciting and wonderful day celebrating all things Bay City. And Irish, yes. Irish Americans in all our glory, yes? Wear some green, wear some orange, you know?
Hi, I'm Jen Hansen, association member, first year.
Rochelle Ovalle. I am the secretary for the Parade Association.
I'm Alan Rowell, and I do a little bit of float and lineup. And this flag in my hand will be the one that waves to get the parade started on the 16th. And our marshal, this is a book that we've all signed, and keep that in your honor.
I'm Jan Rao, and I'm treasurer for the association.
I'm Leslie Walsh, and I'm on the board.
Tom Newsham, former president, just a member of the board now.
Steve Zanetti, the grunt.
John Davidson, the grunt, and the past 50th Parade Marshal.
Hi, everyone. My name is Michelle Widener-Hill, association member, former Queen, last year's Parade Marshal, and co-director of the pageant.
Give those to you. So thank you. I'll get a big round of applause. And remember, March 16th, you are all Irish in Bay City. Thank you very much. All right, well, that was fun. All right, next order of business is the adoption of the agenda. Is there a motion on the adoption of the agenda? Commissioner DeWitt.
Move to adopt the agenda.
Is there a second? Commissioner Prince.
Second.
All right, do any members wish to add an item to the agenda? Commissioner Coakley.
I'd like to add a resolution. Do I read it in its?
Yep, go ahead and read it.
Resolution for the censure of Commissioner Andrea Bernie Obershaw for the violation of the Bay City Commission social media policy. Whereas the Bay City Commission, under the leadership of Mayor Christopher Gerard and Commissioner President Stephen Prince, is committed to maintaining a high standard of conduct and professionalism among its commissioners and appointed officials. And whereas Section 3.4 of the social media policy for elected and appointed officials of Bay City states never use profanity, ethnic slurs, or obscenities of any kind. Defamation of character is strictly prohibited. And whereas on February 26, 2025, Commissioner Andrea Bernie Overshaw violated this policy by using profanity and a derogatory manner toward Commissioner Stephen Prince, in a social media post. Now therefore be it resolved that Commissioner Andrea Bernie Overshaw is hereby formally censured by the Bay City Commission for her violation of Commission's social media policy and her inappropriate conduct on February 26, 2025.
Is there a second? Commissioner Hilliker.
A second.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the amendment to the agenda?
Commissioner Coakley,
Yes.
Bernie Obershaw,
No.
Tenney, Hilliker,
Yes.
DeWitt.
Clarification for public, this is just to add it to the agenda, right?
This is just on adding this to the agenda.
Yes.
Runberg,
No.
Charlebois,
No.
Morris,
Yes.
Prince.
Yes.
5 yes.
Items been added to the agenda. Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the agenda as amended?
Commissioner Bernie Obershaw,
Yes.
Tenney, I did it again. Hilliker,
Yes.
DeWitt,
Yes.
Runberg,
Yes.
Charlebois,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Prince,
Yes.
Coakley.
Yes.
8 yes.
Okay, the agenda for this evening's been adopted. Thank you. Oh, that's it. All right. Next order of business is the consent agenda. Do any members of the commission wish to make a change to the consent agenda? Commissioner Prince.
Hold on. Removal of commission item number 9, resolution regarding notification of city commission after a FOIA request was made regarding their information. And item number 11, commission as a whole, supporting application for Bay Area Community Foundation for an Economic Development Fund grant in the amount of $14,000 to install lights along 700 block of Midland Street.
All right, all set. Commissioner Bernie Overshaw. You have the same one? Okay, great. Anybody else? Commissioner Coakley.
Number 6.
Just clarification, make sure we have the right one.
City manager recommending contract with Shaw Contracting Bay City for the McKinley Avenue reconstruction project in the amount of $3,888,000.
Okay, all set. Anybody else? All right, next order of business calls for public input on the consent agenda. This is an opportunity for citizens to remove an item from the consent for consideration on the regular agenda. If anyone in the audience wishes to make a change, please come to the microphone, print your name on the registration sheet, state your name and address for the record, and the item you wish to have considered on the regular agenda. Okay, seeing no one, is there a motion on the consent agenda? Commissioner DeWitt.
Move to approve.
Is there a second? Commissioner,
Second.
will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the consent agenda?
Commissioner Hilliker,
Yes.
DeWitt,
Yes.
Runberg,
Yes.
Charlebois,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Prince,
Yes.
Coakley,
Yes.
Bernie Obershaw.
Yes.
8 yes.
The recommendations as listed on the consent agenda have been approved. Next item is the remarks of the mayor and commission. But before we get going, there were some comments made at the last meeting. I just want to make sure for clarification that we're following our process of the rules of the commission, and some folks expressed some concerns over what we had adopted. So I actually reached out to the folks at FIRE. I talked to Aaron Turr, who's the Director of Public Advocacy, to make sure we were in compliance. And so I had a good long conversation with him, and he did respond by email. He just thanked me for calling him to discuss the public comment rules. He reviewed Section 2-26 of the Bay City Code of Ordinances online, and he confirmed that the city made the promised revisions to Rules 12 and 17. And so Rules 12 and 17, which are under Section 226 of the Rules of the Commission, are as follows. Rule 12, for the purpose of public participation during public input or public hearings, every speaker must provide his or her name and address on the register provided. Each speaker will be allowed to speak no more than 5 minutes at a meeting, except that a speaker's time may be extended by a majority vote of the commission for no more than 2 additional minutes. The Sergeant of Arms or an acting Sergeant of Arms designated by a majority vote of the Commission shall act as the official timekeeper for the Commission for purposes of this role and for other purposes. During public input, the Speaker may address any topic. And then 17, Rule 17 is the Mayor, President, Acting Mayor, or Acting President may call to order any person or member of the Commission who is being disorderly by speaking out of order or otherwise disrupting the proceedings, failing to be relevant to the current topic of the meeting or public hearing, speaking longer than the allotted time, or making personal attacks or insults directed at another person or group of people and unrelated to the topic of discussion or public hearing. Such person or member of the Commission shall be seated until the chair determines the person is in order. If the person engaged in the presentation is called out of order, he or she shall not be permitted to continue to speak at the same meeting except by special leave of the Commission. If the person shall continue to be disorderly and disrupt the meeting, the chair may order the Sergeant of Arms to remove the person from the meeting with the assistance of a public safety officer if necessary. It shall not be a violation of this rule to use impassioned, offensive, critical, or profane language that is otherwise relevant to this topic of discussion. No person shall be removed from a public meeting of the City Commission under this rule except for an actual violation of this rule committed at the meeting. So I just wanted to make sure, as new to running the meetings, I wanted to make sure we're in compliance, so I wanted to make sure everybody understood what the rules are, and that's what I'm trying to follow in guidelines. And then Commissioner Coakley, who serves as Sergeant of Arms, has received a copy, and he has the duties of a Sergeant of Arms, so he's going to be doing those. So, commissioners, who wants to talk first? Commissioner DeWitt.
I was going to mention the fire thing too. I sent information, and I know he talked to you before I sent it, so I'm glad we have a clarification from them at least. The thing I want to bring up, one that was pulled from the agenda I want to talk about now because it's something that I'm really happy of, that we're going to have an actual policy in place for how notifications for FOIA happens. That's something I want to thank Commissioner Prince for putting on the agenda, because I think that having policies that we can easily reference back to evenly is important. If you haven't heard, down in the South End over the past 3 weeks, the pounding from the driver that they have that is actually called a Fist of God, apparently. They're working on billing that out, and I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to get a tour of that later in the spring. I'd like to invite the mayor to come along with me for that, if I can get that scheduled, because it is very important to the future of the South End of Bay City, and the pictures look really cool, and I just want to get close if I can. So that's all I have for right now. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Who else? Commissioner Bernie Overshaw.
Okay, first, what I want to say is about the censor, being censored for what I say on Facebook. I don't know who haunts my page, but you haunt my page or whatever. You have no business being on there. But anyways, what I want to say is that this should have been on my desk when I walked in here. I shouldn't have gotten this from someone secretly, and so that should have been on my desk. That's a no-no when it comes to chambers. Put it on my desk, whatever it is, if it's an agenda. Now, my second point, I would like to ask about the bridges to City Commissioner. Now, I noticed that on Facebook, if you're haunting my page or whoever is, on Facebook, when United Bridge Partners stated that they were going to drop down the cost to miraculously down to, from the $30 back down to the $15. Did you know that was going to happen?
I was told that morning, the same time the message came out.
So if they were going to drop that down to $15, does that tell you they did that because they liked us? Or did they do that because they know they breached that contract?
I can't talk for them. I have no idea why they dropped it down. They stated that they dropped it down because they were in negotiations with the city, in a sense, and so they're waiting for that to be done.
Okay, well, that gives us time to attack the situation, because that means that they know they breached it, because they're not going to say we like you. Does that kind of make you think that they know that we better drop this down? And, you know, we can, if they're gonna drop it down to, back down to the $15 and they're not even gonna talk to us about it, does that make you feel that maybe we have the upper hand here and maybe we ought to say, okay, if you're gonna drop it, then we know that you breached the contract? And everybody like me is saying, I'm not paying you nothing because you know, and I know, you're not gonna like us that much and not want your money?
Yeah, honestly, I don't, is there a question? What is the question?
The question is, if you talk to the attorneys, they said that they were working it out. Why are we working out a deal with them? If they breached the contract, why are we working out anything with them? Period.
Thank you, folks. So the attorneys are negotiating back and forth. Our argument is that they did, and they are still arguing that they didn't. So we don't have a final say. So I did ask the manager to ask them what the status was so they can report back to the community, and they did. They didn't let us know what they were going to just do a full retraction at that point, but they did. So I think that, it's good for the community, but we don't have it, it's not settled yet. As I said in the statement, we don't have a final determination. I think the lawyers are doing what lawyers do, and hopefully, I'm hopeful that we'll have a determination soon, so we can then officially, as far as city resident, it's the negotiations around the out-city resident portion. I don't think we've discussed anything. The city residents are pretty, they have the free tolling for several years still, so hopefully that, do you have more specific?
Okay, I'll give it a better question. All right, so if they're going to say $30, right? And you say that are you trying to negotiate with them? Why are we negotiating with them and they're not even talking to you? They're talking to Facebook. So what I want to know is, why are you negotiating with them? Because they're negotiating with us through Facebook. So what I want to know is, are you truly talking with them? Because you don't have any information to give us.
So as the mayor stated, they are still talking with us. So the city attorneys, it's all through the attorneys, between us and UBP's attorneys. So they're still coming back with an answer.
One more question. Then that tells me, if you are negotiating with them, why are we paying a red damn dime? $30, if they're dropping it back down to $15, then that means we don't owe them nothing. They breached the contract. They breached it. No one's going to say, you owe me $30, but since, I want to be nice to you, you just go ahead and give me $15 when it's going to be billions of dollars we're going to lose. So we're going to, I don't understand that. So that's all I have to say. Something's not right here.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Coakley.
So are our lawyers, are they the ones doing the negotiating?
They are.
Okay, so I'm assuming the county and the municipals are pitching in to help pay those costs, or are we absorbing the full cost of that?
We are absorbing that cost.
Okay, have they reached out to us to help at all with any of that?
No.
No, just wondering, just wondering what their involvement was, because this doesn't involve the ones paying the 15 or 30 are not Bay City citizens. Yeah, that surprised me. They're not wanting to help. Wow. Secondly, the $5 million is in a separate account. Are we getting interest on that, and is it staying in that account towards that, or is it going back?
Oh, yes.
If we're not going to use that this year, can we try to ladder invest that? At least try to, release $1 million here, $1 million there, and try to get some higher interest rates that fall within the realm of things?
I'm sorry, what? Yeah, Yeah, I mean, we can have George talk about the interest rates. We are getting good interest on them and the investment.
I didn't know if we'd get something better if we
are.
put something 3 years out, 2 years out, and so forth. Well, that's really all I got today.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to try to get through all the commissioners that spoke first, and then I'll come back to you, Commissioner Bernie Overshaw. Commissioner Prince.
Some questions about the bridge. The $30 never went into effect, did it?
No, it did not.
Okay, that's what I thought. One of the reasons why we negotiate is because it's the step before binding arbitration, correct?
Correct.
So if we go into arbitration and they rule against us, then we are stuck with that. So there's a reason why we negotiate before going into that.
That is correct.
Okay. It was mentioned in previous meetings that why don't we just void it, kick them out of the city? If we were to do that, we would have to reimburse their investment into the bridges, which would be, what, $200 million?
Probably at least that.
How big is our general fund? 25 million?
Yes, yes.
So we would have to cut all services to the city, eliminate everything, every city function for about 12 years in order to recoup that cost, assuming that we don't have all of our residents move out of the city by then and destroy our property values. So there's a reason why we negotiate and not just void the contract. It's so that way we don't get stuck with a bill that we cannot pay under any means, and the state of Michigan's not going to come in and save us. The federal government's not going to come in and save us. So it's just what it is. So we negotiate because that's where our leverage is. So that's my only comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Runberg.
Yeah, mine's more of a process question. I obviously was late, and I apologize for being late. I do have some documents to get it issued out to the other commissioners. Can I approach the clerk and have that delivered, or is there a time to do that?
You can do that now. That's fine.
Thank you.
As long if it's related to a current agenda item, you can. If you're amending something, you can do that, but it couldn't be added to the agenda. Okay. Any other commissioners have comments? Commissioner Bernie Overshaw. Okay, Commissioner Bernie Overshaw.
Okay, I would like to address Commissioner Prince. How long have you been here, Commissioner Prince? And were you here when they signed the contract?
I'm getting that we can't address. How can she ask a question?
Well, I just want to make sure we're following the right rules here. Clarification on. No, she wants to interrogate a commissioner. Okay, you don't. So you can ask. They don't have to respond. So that interrogate wasn't the right word. I just.
How long have you been here, and did you have a part in the bridge situation? I just want to know because you've been kind of really getting into deep waters when you have been talking about what you know is going on with the bridges, because I've been here a long time. Do you know?
So I've been on the commission since November 2024. I've read everything, but I don't know what you're referring to of what do I know?
Were you in the rooms back there when they were signing those contracts, when they were talking about it, when Chris Gerard was there, when Clements was there, when Hilliker, when they all got together and they signed that paperwork, when they made that deal, were you there?
No, I was a private citizen at the time.
Exactly. So what I'm asking her is why are they making any type of conversation when that paperwork states, first of all, that the people of Bay City were not even supposed to be paying any tolls, but they were getting bills for crossing the bridge. There's only too many uh-ohs, and there were plenty of uh-ohs, and that should have been breached in the get-go. Now, if you read the contract, and if you talk to the people that came here and were crying, and they were getting those bills, shouldn't that have been a breach of contract? And I know it's a run-on sentence, but it says in the contract that if they don't tell us 30 days in advance and change the cost on the bridge, that's an automatic breach of contract. So I would like you to explain to the people if it's a breach of contract, if they don't send a notice out to us, which in 30 days means breach. They did that.
Okay, you all set, Commissioner?
This is getting into legal things. I mean, I don't know if Commissioner Prince is.
But he needs to answer questions because
he's not a lawyer, and I don't know if he can answer this.
Yeah. I'll just make a quick statement. I'm not defending Bridge Partners. I'm not. I'm not. What I'm saying is the process in which we are going about trying to combat what they did is the process in which you go about doing it, is you sit down with them and try and resolve the issue before you go to arbitration. And that's what the city is trying to do.
You can't speak on something you know nothing about. You have to have experience. You need to leave it alone until you learn and sit down and get you some experience. You can't do a 90-day evaluation.
Basically, I mean, I'm going to jump in here. So how I see this, the basic thing is the city cannot afford the $200 million to get the bridges back. We can't do anything with help from those around us. And that's basically where we're at.
Yes. I mean, hopefully we'll have a resolution soon and to go before this commission if we're accepting of what is decided. I think, hopefully my personal feeling is we just need to hold them accountable to the contract, right? I don't think that anybody in this room would disagree that they should be held to the standards of the contract.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay. And that's all I've been saying is they need to keep to the terms of the contract. So, all right. So I just want to say, so this Friday, in a conjunction with the St. Patrick's Day Parade, there's the St. Patrick's Day races. And I don't know if we have any runners in the room, but I was in here, and so they're doing the 8K and the 5K race, and they're doing the Irish double, and I usually do the Irish double. But this year, I am launching a new initiative called Healthy Minds, Healthy Body, Bay City. And it really is about trying to work towards mental health awareness around movement and getting people active and participating in their community. So there'll be more stuff coming, and I'm going to invite the community to participate in that. And so actually, if anybody would like to walk, I'm going to get some T-shirts, and we're going to do at 10:45 on the day of the race. If you just want to walk, there's a registration form we'll publish out there, and then you can register for that. And you do have to register for the race. I'll make that clear. I think it's like $30, but it's a non-competitive race. But the Bay Area Runners Association does a great job with that race, and a lot of funds are actually donated back to the community. And really, the parade and the races bring so many people in our community. It is a great thing for businesses and just in general. It's really, I think somebody said it earlier, the start of spring. So you can know the spring's in the air, and as they said, the sun's going to be shining and it's going to be beautiful out. So I hope to see as many people out there as possible. I do want to say, I know Commissioner Bernie Obershaw, you had some questions. I don't stalk your Facebook page. There was some residents that did reach out to me and shared with me screenshots, and so they had some concerns, and so I had to relay that to the folks. So that's all it is people did reach out to me about that. So, and that's all I have. So, City Manager, you got some comments?
Yep, I just want to let everybody know that we are working on budgets. It's budget season here at the city. They were due today to accounting, and they're going to start to put that together. And then we have meetings with our departments individually. Accounting does with myself, and we go over the budget, and then we will have that to you on April 21st. There's a resolution that was put in place by former Commissioner Davidson, and he is here tonight, that the budgets are on your desk the second meeting in April. So you'll have that to review, and then we will set up meetings after that, after you've had time to review it, and go over that here in the chambers.
All right, thank you. All right, next order of business calls for public input. Under the rules of the City Commission, each speaker will be allowed 5 minutes to speak. Commissioner Coakley will be the timekeeper. This is the opportunity for citizens to address the commission regarding any agenda item or any other matter. If anyone wishes to address the commission, please come forward, print your name on the registration sheet, and state your name and address for the record.
Thank you all for being here today. My name is Paul Kleinow, 1713 10th Street, 2nd Ward, with Commissioner Coakley. I'd like to speak in favor of today's immigration enforcement resolution. The current political environment requires a willingness to act now. We can't ignore this issue. We can't deal with it later. A decision needs to be made now to prepare. As per a Friday MLive article, the feds are pushing a program called 287G to deputize local cops into federal ICE agents, with over 100 agencies already signing on since December, and more to come. I believe it was 32. This expands a program previously only found in states like Texas and Florida. The executive orders pushing deputization have already been written. The text of Project 2025 demands the absorption of local police. We cannot wait to think how we will react, and a rejection of this resolution is essentially resignation that our police will down the line. I ask you to look at what the city should do to prepare the city manager and director of public safety to address the issue when it arrives, rather than circle back and have the same meeting after a more pointed executive order has been issued. The primary goal of this resolution is avoiding the co-opting of city resources we can't afford to lose by federal agencies like ICE that have their own tasks and their own funding. Our officers are not federal agents. They are from and serve this city. They do one thing, agencies do another. We can't afford to take on additional tasks, especially one as potentially harmful as ill-targeted immigration raids. An executive order isn't going to suddenly grant us a few million more dollars to hire new officers. Our officers still have a duty to be public safety, but local public safety jobs do not include chasing people over immigration paperwork. We ask enough of them already, including fire and EMS, and their plates are full. Being asked to stop patrolling so they can chase down a local worker who overstayed a visa 5 years ago is simply not an effective use of their time, given 40% of all undocumented are simply visa overstayers. But also, we don't want to spend money on lawsuits. If it becomes part of Bay City duties to go immigrant hunting, what method do they have to identify one? There's no visible feature of a non-citizen. Deputized immigration cops will be expected to stop and frisk everyone in the city who might possibly be undocumented. And how will they judge? Perhaps a brown complexion, or a foreign accent, or the ability to speak a non-English language. Our public safety can only pick people who seem like immigrants to check for papers. And given citizens typically don't carry passports around when buying groceries, at least I don't, it may not be possible to prove citizenship if detained. Already in 2025, ICE has detained Americans based on appearance. One case of Puerto Ricans, another of Native Americans. But perhaps closer to home, we can look at what happened in Grand Rapids in 2019 when they detained a Latino ex-Marine on suspicion of illegal immigration, which cost them $190,000 for the screw-up, let alone the ethical black market left. But setting ethics aside of stop and frisk, do we want to bring that monetary risk here? The feds won't be paying those court bills, are we? To finish, I could make ethical arguments on the shared humanity of Bay City. I could talk about how immigrants contribute taxes while receiving no welfare in a town with a dwindling tax base. I could talk about them committing crime at lower rates, or the absurdity of a town that celebrates its immigrant past, like today, with an anti-immigrant stance down the line. But I think others today might do that, so I just want to make sure commissioners are thinking about something definitely in their role, the city's bank account. And if we don't pass this resolution, we will drain it. If this is voted down or vetoed, I hope those who do so have thought deeply about how they will fund the additional police work required, pay for the lawsuits that will result. Voting no will not make this go away. I hope you vote with a plan and not because you're fearful of external blowback. The best way to protect the city and thus continue business as usual is to vote yes. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Matthew Sylvester. I'm on MARSAC. I also came originally to speak in favor of this bill, but I am just, once again, that was really well done. I came with my own concerns about the expenses relating to training the police and inevitable lawsuits. I want people in my city, and I want my tax dollars to go towards police who help people when the phone is called, and not police who say, like, where are your papers? Is there a way to get this right? And Bay City, I moved in here 2019, and it's been a very welcoming city, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate the shared humanity of everybody who brings, who comes to Bay City to share in its wealth, its beauty, and its joy. But seeing as that was such a good point, I'm just going to complain about the bridges some more. I do not like those bridges. And thank you, Andrea, for what you said on Facebook and in this meeting. I mean, you're just posting on Facebook. You're a human being. You were not in this room, and you were just sharing your own thoughts freely. Thank you for that. I see it. I appreciate. I added you. I've only got 5 minutes. Okay. Leverage, Mr. Prince, you keep mentioning leverage. So I was thinking over this week of leverage I could bring to the city. This is why I wish these negotiations were brought to the public so that we could help you fight for us. Some of the leverage I think that you guys could use if you like go into the meeting, like start off a little mean. Or just like remind them that they aren't loved or are unpopular. It's a little harsh, but it'll get there. Chris Gerard, you are a very handsome man. Stop replying to any of their Snapchats. This will hurt them psychologically, okay? In the meetings, Chris, you may need to like turn around. If they cannot see your face, they might concede one of the bridges. I don't know, just like it'll get in their head. What else? I understand your concerns about having to pay back the money they have. That's a very valid concern, and I don't think the Bay City has $200 million in cash. I don't believe you do, and I understand your concerns. But that money could be made back over time with tolls that could go back to the city. Right now, the money that's going through there is just being funneled into California, where their parent company is based. And I don't want to pay for another Californian billionaire's like mansion home that burns up every few years. I want that money to be spent on our city, our schools, our businesses. What else? Leverage. Well, you said like $200. That's not something necessarily the city would have to pay. If they sold maybe one or both the bridges, couldn't you force the sale of another to another business at the very least? Because they violated the contract. And the last time I was up here, I was really mad. I kept saying they broke the law. I'm sorry. I don't think they broke the law, but they violated the contract. And in that violation of a contract, I'm sure any judge or arbiter would understand you guys saying they violated the contract early on. I mean, I'm not even sure they'll honor us citizens until the 5 years out. I mean, they're just not making enough money. And to quote an MLive article, I will drown in that fucking river before I pay those people a dime. I'm sorry if I added the expletive. Thank you.
Hey, hello, Commissioners. So I know you've heard me talking about the bridges when I've been here before, but today I would actually like to talk about the resolution that's going to be before you today, but
Well,
not an immigration.
just make sure you state your name and address.
Sorry, yes, Kayla Harper, 809 28th Street. So today you will be voting on a resolution aimed at making sure Bay City isn't a city that focuses its already overextended police force on immigration control. I want to point out that this resolution does not prevent federal agencies from doing their job, but it ensures that Bay City does not take on unnecessary legal risks by assisting ICE without going through the proper judicial authority. When a city deputizes police officers as immigration enforcement officers, it does so through a 287G agreement. This is a partnership between local law enforcement and ICE under Section 287G of the Immigration and Nationality Act. Legally, this would make our officers, and by extension our department, an extension of ICE. Doing this has a high chance of opening a legal can of worms for Bay City. In recent years, countless lawsuits have been brought against municipalities who assist ICE in their apprehension of undocumented immigrants, which have been found liable for damages associated with unconstitutional detainment. ICE has a long and significant history of operating without the necessary warrants, which exposes both themselves and cooperating departments to litigation. Gonzalez v. ICE was a class action lawsuit against ICE for unlawful detainment. The court found that ICE had wrongfully detained thousands of people. They ruled that ICE detainers themselves are not legally binding and further added that local law enforcement can be held liable for enforcing them. Roy v. County of Los Angeles was a class action lawsuit that alleged that LA sheriff held people beyond their release dates in jail due to ICE holds. That county was ordered to pay $14 million to the plaintiffs. In Santos v. Frederick Board of Commissioners, the commissioners themselves were held liable for municipality assistance, with the court ruling that the local police had no authority to detain that particular plaintiff solely for ICE. The court also ruled that qualified immunity does not apply in these cases, meaning that the commissioners themselves, you personally, could be held liable for these damages awarded to plaintiffs if ICE oversteps. Galarza versus Shalchik, Morales v. Chadbourne, and Miranda Olivares v. Clackamas County are a few more other court cases that say similar things. These are just a few examples of countless more, but the pattern is clear. ICE frequently denies suspects their constitutional rights, and the cities that assist them are left paying the price, literally. If you vote against this resolution, you are not just exposing Bay City to potential lawsuits, you are putting yourselves at personal risk. Whatever your personal beliefs about immigration, how much are each of you willing to personally pay to the wrongfully detained that so often follows ICE's arrival? Because I can guarantee that if a lawsuit is brought against Bay City, your individual votes today will be among the evidence that will decide personal culpability in any wrongdoing. A lawsuit over unconstitutional detainment could drain our city's resources, impact public services, and overburden taxpayers. By voting yes, you are not just upholding the law, you're protecting the financial stability of Bay City, the people you are elected to serve, and yourselves. Leadership is about making smart, informed choices, not emotional ones. And this resolution, it's not about immigration policy. That's decided at a level that is much higher than any of us. It's about shielding Bay City from unnecessary legal and financial burdens while still complying with federal law. Choosing not to deputize our police as immigration agents is simply ensuring that they can focus on their primary duties, rather than adding yet another role to their already full plates. It does not oppose ICE or take any of the actions that the President has mentioned in his bids to withhold city funding from uncooperative municipalities. There is none of that here. So I say let the federal government handle its own jurisdiction. Our responsibility is to Bay City, and that means protecting our finances and our people and our representatives. Thank you.
My name is Pat Race. I have been a citizen of Bay
city since 1941. I come to say, of course, I support this resolution, but I'm not going to speak to that other than to say how proud I am of the people who want to do something now, because this is the most dangerous time in our Constitution since the Civil War. The people in charge are not trying to do what we need. If you look at statistics, you see that on women's health, on environment, and on, what the majority of the American people want is not what Congress and the President is doing. So in order to focus on how good this activity you are doing is, and that everyone here needs to do the same thing for the next 18 months so that we preserve the democracy that we have, the barely functioning democracy that we have, I bring to you basically 7 lawsuits which have been filed that show that the current administration is not working in the benefit of all the citizens. And clearly, the things that are related to immigration is one of them. But the administration is dismantling the Consumer Protection Organization. That means billionaires who were, to some degree, reined in by what this organization does won't do it anymore. The freeze on foreign aid is clearly unconstitutional. And there are suits that will probably, over time, retard what he's trying to do. The invasion of the Department of Education, the shutting down of U.S. aid, those are things that harm us in the long range, and each person needs to understand how bad that is so that we can prevent it getting worse. Public health agency websites have been censored. And there's 2 more to go. And these old fingers just don't seem to get the paper. Okay. So Dodge, you know what that is? It's invaded the U.S. Treasury Department. It operates unlawfully. All these have lawsuits that are going on, and you need to understand what they are and talk to your friends and neighbors so that these wonderful people who are attempting to keep them out of our business here also get support as we try and keep this a constitutional republic. Thank you.
Mr. Race, I just want, you signed in correctly.
I'm doing that right now.
Perfect, thank you.
Oh, you did? Okay. Good evening. My name is Denise Davidson. I live at 1218 Marsack Street. I am going to speak to you tonight with regards to the resolution regarding immigration enforcement and my opposition to it. I'm against it. This resolution, our city will lose state and federal funding. On February 11th, 2025, our State House passed H.R. 19, thank you, H-1, which amends the standing rules of the House of Representatives to prohibit appropriation bills or conference reports containing spending directed towards a municipality or university that is actively subverting immigration enforcement from being brought up for a vote. Examples of federal funding that we currently receive, approximately $1.4 million. Community development block grants via the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, community policing in our local schools to keep children safe, Bulletproof Vest Partnership Program from the U.S. DOJ, Airport Improvement Program from the U.S. DOT, Brownfield Revolving Loan Fund, US EPA. Examples of state funding is approximately $14 million. General funds, revenue sharing, personal property tax reimbursement, public safety, parks, streets, sanitation, Brownfield, Marquette, Tifa, Airport, Liberty Harbor Marina. If we do not receive federal and state funding, I'm assuming cuts will have to be made at the city level. Starting at the top, I would assume because of the largest allocation of funds in the general budget, police and fire, I don't know. But I don't think the city can afford to make those cuts. Federal government is enforcing current immigration laws. The risk and the safety of our children, grandchildren, and taxpayers are at risk. This will allow criminal activity to advance further into our city, child sex offenders, human trafficking, more drugs and crime. I urge you to vote no on this resolution. Thank you very much for your time.
My name is Tamara Graham. I'm also speaking on behalf of my mother, Marilyn, who has been a resident of this city for 78 years of her life, born and raised. I have lived away for a significant part of my life and have recently relocated back here. And I am speaking in support of the resolution affirming Bay City's commitment to local public safety priorities and jurisdictional integrity. As a citizen of this country and resident of Bay City, my mother and I fully support this resolution and urge its adoption, and so should all of you. Public safety in Bay City must remain the top priority of local law enforcement, ensuring that resources are directed toward crime prevention, emergency response, and community engagement rather than the enforcement of federal immigration laws. The effectiveness of our police force depends on trust between officers and the communities they serve, and any perception that local law enforcement is acting as an extension of federal immigration agencies undermines that trust. Unfortunately, this trust has already been severely weakened due to repeated failures by local law enforcement to adequately address real and pressing threats in the community, including rampant drug crime that continues to plague the city. The resolution appropriately affirms that city's authority under Michigan's Home Rule City Act, reinforcing Bay City's right to determine how its public safety resources are allocated. This is critical, as I have personally experienced how law enforcement has failed to prioritize genuine threats to public safety. In my mother's neighborhood is a home known as a drug house, literally right next door to her. And we called the police numerous times as certain situations escalated. Her life was directly threatened on multiple occasions. Yet law enforcement refused to take action. It was only after she called the chief of police and her then Ward 8 commissioner, Ed Clements, threatening to go to the media that anything was done. 2 days later, a raid was finally conducted. That it took my mother escalating the issue to city officials and the press for law enforcement to act is deeply troubling and highlights the need for local oversight and accountability in law enforcement resource allocation. By prohibiting the use of city personnel funds, the equipment for federal immigration enforcement, except where explicitly required by law, this resolution ensures that law enforcement remains focused on the safety and well-being of all residents. As someone who has seen firsthand how ineffective and unresponsive our police department can be, I know that diverting resources to federal immigration enforcement would only make an already bad situation worse. Local officers already struggle with upholding the law effectively in matters under their direct jurisdiction. They have ignored real threats, failed to protect vulnerable residents, and allowed crime to flourish. We cannot afford to further dilute their focus with responsibilities that belong to federal agencies. Furthermore, protecting privacy, prohibiting discrimination in access to city services, and maintaining clear boundaries between local and federal jurisdictions strengthens public safety by encouraging all residents to report crime and seek emergency assistance without fear. Yet I have personally witnessed how law enforcement in Bay City uses race to justify inaction. When we reported legitimate concerns about criminal activity, we were accused of being racist for accurately describing a suspect, ignoring the fact that the primary problem at this drug house come from white individuals. This kind of deflection allows real criminals to operate with impunity while residents are left unprotected. Additionally, I experienced firsthand how dismissive and hostile local law enforcement can be when I visited my mother for the first time in nearly 5 years before relocating back here. Rather than serving and protecting, a small white cop with a chip on his shoulder the size of my 6'5" son told me that if I didn't like it, I could leave and never come back and visit. This kind of arrogance and attempt at intimidation has no place in a department that is supposed to uphold justice for all residents. The continued inaction of Congress on meaningful immigration reform has placed an undue burden on local governments, making it all the more critical that Bay City reaffirm its commitment to its own public safety priorities. Rather than providing real solutions, laws like the Laken-Riley Act further complicate the issue by imposing unconstitutional mandates that violate due process under the Fifth Amendment and the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. This act does not solve the challenges communities face. Instead, it exacerbates them by diverting critical local resources away from addressing real crime and public safety concerns. By forcing local law enforcement to engage in federal immigration enforcement, it weakens trust between officers and the communities they serve, discourages crime reporting, and makes everyone else less safe. And I understand that some of you are leaning toward no on this resolution out of fear of retaliation from the criminal cabinet that we have sitting in the White House. This shows a complete lack of concern for the Constitution and citizens of this city and country.
Time.
If you cannot, I'm going to take my mom's 5 minutes. If you cannot operate within the commitment to the people of this city and retaliation, then you should not be sitting in the leadership role you currently hold.
Stop. There's a process.
Step aside and let
Shut up,
someone
Mike.
with encouragement come up.
She doesn't want
Move
to
to
learn
give
about
her
the process.
move to give her 2 more minutes. Mayor, move to give her 2 minutes.
Yes. Yes. So there's a motion. Is there support? Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any objection?
Not operate.
Commissioner, hold on a minute. Commissioner Hilliker objects.
I object if you are not willing to maintain composure during this and allow us to continue with this. Then no, you do not. I do not believe you should be.
That's your opinion. I have composure.
Okay. So is there an objection? So we can vote on the objection to allow for additional 2 minutes. Please call the roll.
This will be on the actual motion to allow the 2
Allow for 2 more minutes. Yep.
Commissioner DeWitt.
Allow for 2 more minutes.
Yes. Is that a yes?
Just say yes or no.
Yes, I was making sure to clarify. Yep.
Yep. Runberg.
Yes.
Charlebois.
Yes.
Morris.
Yes.
Prince.
Yes.
Coakley.
Yes.
Bernie.
Yes.
Hilliker.
No.
7 yes.
Okay. Speakers has 2 more minutes. Thank you.
If you cannot operate with the commitment to the people of the city and the Constitution for fear of retaliation, then you should not be sitting in the leadership role you currently hold. Instead, step aside and let someone with the courage and commitment serving all people based on our Constitution take your place. This resolution is a necessary step in upholding constitutional protections, preserving trust between law enforcement and the community, and ensuring that city resources remain dedicated to the needs of Bay City residents. I have experienced the failures of our police department firsthand, and I know that without clear policies that keep them accountable, the same mistakes will continue. Passing this resolution will enforce the expectation that police officers prioritize the well-being of residents over political distraction and uphold their duty to serve and protect. I urge its full and immediate passage. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Matthew Quintana. I live on 712 North Henry Street. I also want to speak in support of the resolution affirming Bay City's commitment to local public safety priorities and jurisdictional integrity. I have been a resident since 2012. It's been a welcoming place. I think we should continue to be a welcoming place. We need population growth. We need revitalization. We should be welcoming to communities. And to paraphrase Billy Bragg, if this presidential administration is going to make a list of communities to attack, I'd rather be on it than hiding from it. So please don't comply in advance. That's all.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lori Ward, 800 Germania Street. There's been a lot of discussion about local resources. So Bay City is a welcoming city, but do we have to sign a resolution to say that? And I believe if we do sign this, that we will, basically a lot of immigrants will come. And my concern is we don't have we don't have enough resources in Bay City to take care of them. Last meeting, there were 10 people in a row that came up saying the homeless shelter was at capacity and had to turn people away. So it's not just the police aspect, it's do we have resources to support immigrants that come here that have no housing, no schools, they need medical care. Is our system, and are we a wealthy community and able to provide them with what they need to be successful? And I don't see that here in Bay City. I think people are living paycheck to paycheck. I think all of our finances are stressed to the max. Do we have resources to help those people that would come in to our city if we make it a welcoming city? And I think the answer to that is no. Our own citizens struggle. Thank you. There we go.
Hello, Commission. Hello, everyone here today. My name is Elizabeth Austin, and I live at 1125 Fremont Street, right across from McGregor Elementary. I worry about our future at times. I worry about whether people can be sex offenders, anything at all. I am speaking in regards to the resolution today. I hope that, Commissioners, you do vote the right choice. I am leaning against it today. I believe that as one nation under God, we should be able to help out the federal government. I do agree that we could lose state and federal funding. So that is my opinion today. I understand everybody has their own. I do hope everybody respects everyone. Thank you.
Bruce Eckhart, 810 Germania. First of all, I like your welcome signs, but they're for the wrong reason. What's going on in this country right now is a lot of companies are coming back from Europe all over. They want to invest in America. Just like today, $100 billion, Taiwan is going to invest in chips for here in the United States. Think about this, will you? What states do you think they're going to invest in? The red states. Why? Because they have rule of law. Rule of law, remember that. And that's very important. And they have safe neighborhoods, everything else. That's why they come in here. And their taxes are cheap, low regulations. Now, I noticed today, Whitmore, your governor, said she's going to look, see if she can start cutting out a lot of regulations they have in the state because it takes a long time to get things finished. Well, just like Bay City. The biggest complaint I hear about Bay City is when you want to build something, you add something to it, you got inspectors come out, you charge so much, hundreds of dollars. I mean, you got to get off this, you guys. You're driving everybody away, but you're bringing the wrong people in. All you beautiful women over here, I wish you was down there in Georgia when that one lady was jogging like along the river. She got raped and cut up and beat up and all this stuff. Why don't you guys take a busload and go up to Kansas or up to Chicago, New York, and ask them how they like being treated by all these undocumented. You act like everyone's perfect. The party brought everybody in when they opened that border up. Killers, rapists, psychos, all that. Is that what you want? Welcome? We say, welcome everybody. Come on, you guys. You can do better now. And I don't understand this new Ward number 7. We just got this guy and a young man, and he's dictating to us, this is what we should do. It's against our country, our government, and our city. Our city is supposed to protect us first, not, oh, come on in. All you people that want to welcome them, put welcome in front of your house so you can welcome and see what happens. You might get raped, you might get salty, we don't know, but you guys are walking the wrong way, I'll tell you. So definitely think about that. This old nicey. You guys have been spoiled. What the problem is, I don't know where the hell you've been in life, but you've been spoiled. So except for that, I guess that's all I got to say. But I hope you know, I know my Duet knows how I feel, so I'm pretty well knows what he's going to do. I hope I do. If not, if it goes wrong, we might have to take some petitions. I don't know. I hope not, but we'll see what happens. Thank you.
Just make sure the green light is on.
There we go. I have a whole thing wrote up, but I just want to state one thing after hearing some commentary. Just because someone is an immigrant does not make them a criminal.
Okay. You do need to state your name and address for the
Oh, my
for the
apologies.
record.
Kirby Burns, 817 South Sherman Street.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Good evening. Firstly, as always, thank you to the elected members of this chamber for your continued work and efforts in leading our city. It doesn't go unnoticed, so thank you. I want to read you some facts and statistics that I think are not only relevant, but important to the current state of affairs regarding immigration enforcement. Immigration Policy Organization states, ICE may arrest a non-citizen if it has probable cause, a reason to believe that the person may be deportable and is likely to escape if not taken into custody. Meaning, federal agents do not forego their duties to individuals who are legally here with protected asylum status, DACA, or other protected statuses recognized by the federal government. 8 out of 10 illegal immigrants are eligible for asylum status in the United States of America, a due process that is legally upheld by the judiciary branch of the United States. Meaning, if truly the legality of people, which I've adamantly heard from people stating, I have no problem with those people if those people come here legally, was of concern of the federal government, the federal government would be sending immigration and custom enforcement as not as armed enforcers removing immigrants. They would be sending legal scholars from U.S. Citizen and Immigration Services and the Department of Homeland Security to expedite process I-589 forms for asylum status, if truly legality is a concern of basis. But let's speak to what's directly relevant here to Bay City. If we're to allow federal agencies to utilize our local police force's assets as an extended arm of political retribution led by a nationalist party in the White House against our communities, we're allowing them to not only just target people of a disenfranchised special population, but promoting it. Who's to say who will be the next individuals that are sought after by federal agents? Individuals of the LGBTQ community? Individuals who voted against certain party lines? Are citizens that exercise their First Amendment rights of verbal protest and civil disobedience, speaking out against policy of the federal government? It's a slippery slope, one that I believe Bay City should have no part in financially supporting. To end, I want to read a poem by Martin Niemöller, a pastor and outspoken critic to the German Nazi regime of the 1930s. First, they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out, for I am not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out, because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. Please vote yes on the Commissioner Ruenberg's resolution. Thank you very much.
Sarita Sylvester, 904 Marsack Street. I'm just standing up here today to also lend my support in the resolution. I already pay federal tax dollars to go to ICE. I don't see why my local money should be going to it as well. I did want to speak in regards to all the fear mongering we're throwing out about the rapists coming in. I live on Marsac too, and I've looked up our sexual registration, and it's full of old white men, not minorities.
My name is Dolores Kerr, 2403 Kapka Court, Bay City, Michigan. And I'm here to support that. I hope that the resolution, you all vote no on it, because as I understand it, we would be losing federal money, and I don't think we should lose federal money. And some of the immigrants are needed, yes, but they come here legally. There is a difference between illegal and legal. There is a difference between supporting our city and making a, it's just silly. This is just not a good thing. I think that this should be voted no. And I just have one comment I have to just get off my mind on that bridge. You know, when that first started, everybody in Bay City came down. I mean, the place was packed. All of Bay City. They're like, no, we don't want to sell our bridges. And you know what? The city wore us down, meeting to meeting to meeting. And when it started, half of Bay City was there. And when they finally did pass it and give it to them, there was hardly anybody there. I got all the paperwork on it. Someday I'll show it to you.
Hi, my name's Josh Rogner. I'm from Bangor Township, 224 Lagoon Beach Drive. I speak. Oh, cool. I'm just here to kind of open up a dialogue about decriminalizing entheogens in Bay City or Bangor Township. I don't have anything prepared yet, but I plan on coming back to the next meeting on the third Monday of March. There's a lot. I don't want to open up a can of worms by decriminalizing it. So there's a lot of work to be done, and to do it in a proper fashion. It helps with people with addiction, PTSD, aging issues, end of life transitions. I was thinking of cacti, mushrooms, and there's iboga. I work with Decriminalize Nature. I'm supposed to be at a meeting right now, and I don't have much else to say. I just kind of wanted to introduce myself, and entheogens are good things to help with addiction. I think that's. I was looking at information about addictions in Bay City, and I think we rank 11th for 11th worst county in Michigan for addiction-related overdoses and things like that. So I think this method is an intelligent method and another tool in our arsenal to help with addictions and many other issues. There's also the spiritual aspect of entheogens that I find interesting, and I will prepare more next meeting. I also want to address my support for the motion tonight about immigration. Immigrants are beautiful people. Sometimes they have a diverse background, and they may not have had the same education as we have. But they believe in family just like we do, and I'm just here to support that in a kind manner. Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. John Davidson, 1218 Marsac. Oh, there was a lady that came up here and talked to me. That was the better 3/4 of me. I always say if you look behind a good man, there's a great woman. I want to talk about this immigration. I served 12 years on this commission, 3 years on the executive board of directors of the Michigan Municipal League. And I think we're barking down the wrong tree. We're poking the wrong bear. I hear people on the one side talk about the guy in the White House. I hear other people talking about party difference. Why in the hell are we making it about party difference? And why in the hell aren't we making it about protecting what you took an oath, and I did too, in protecting the citizens of this city? Now, it's not legal immigration that's the problem. It's the illegal that's a problem. Now, 4 down generations, and yes, I'm an old white guy, and proud to say it, sooner or later you guys are going to be there. But, I'll get off track. These police officers here took an oath, almost the same thing as you guys did, to protect the Constitution of the United States, no matter who's in that White House. It's like I will never disrespect the seat that my commissioner sits in. You should never disrespect the oath that you took as a commissioner to protect this city. Now, are we a welcome city? And I see signs for welcome. Back in, I forget when it was, Ms. Muscat may identify with it because I believe you were the city, clerk. David Tarasi was on it. We were looking towards Sanctuary City. We've dropped that and we became a welcome city, did we not? If I may. I know this is not debate time, I'm sorry. But it became a welcome city anyway. This resolution, young man, that you're bringing forward, you're poking the wrong bear for it. And I can tell you, yeah, so be it. Have that chip on your shoulder by somebody that was appointed, not elected. Now, God, I didn't want to go there. Yeah, I did? Okay. I didn't want to get emotional. I didn't want to pull out my notes because everybody's got Wi-Fi in that. You know, it's just $14 million to lose from the budget, estimated. Where are you going to cut that? It's just like the wife said, your general fund is where you're going to cut it. And the biggest part of it you're going to cut is police officers. And I hear these people over here talking, we need to protect the city. How can you protect it when you're going to start cutting police and fire, and then you got, I believe it's 3 officers in training? What are you going to tell them when they get done? I'm sorry, but you did a good job being trained. We can't hire you. The problem of immigration and how we're going to protect the city. How we're going to protect the city is to get more law enforcement in here. And if it's illegal, comes here and it's the criminals that they're after. They're not after everybody. And how dare you come up to this podium and talk about skin color? I was raised in the 1st Ward when I was younger. We never saw, there was the Davidsons, which was a white family. The Melitellos were Italians. The Martinez were Hispanic. And the Joneses were black. We never seen the right color of race. All we seen is friendship. I'm telling you, this thing needs to fail. Shame on you guys if it passed. You know, I sat there and looked for articles, and I read an article about a 12-year-old girl that was raped, left for murdered underneath a bridge by 3 immigrants. Now, am I going to say that's going to happen here? Probably not. But do we want it, a chance for it to come here? You become a welcome city, it's going to come here. And I can imagine that you guys that just got elected
Time.
or appointed.
Commissioner DeWitt.
Motion to give Speaker the 2 extra minutes.
Commissioner Morris, is there a second?
Second.
Is there any objection?
Object.
All right, so we have an objection, so we will vote on that objection. So yes is to allow the speaker 2 more minutes, and no is to not.
Commissioner Runberg,
Yes.
Charlebois,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Prince,
Yes.
Coakley,
Yes.
Bernie,
No.
Hilliker,
No.
DeWitt.
Yes.
6 yes.
That's
Okay, you have 2 more minutes.
Thank you, and I'll stay on tack here. Well, I want to say something about Miss Bernie too, but just definitely think of what you're getting yourselves into, gentlemen and ladies. If you vote yes on this, I do see the crime spree coming. The state is ranked 7th in the United States in human trafficking. Shame on us. And to Miss Bernie, just to make a quick end, to Miss Bernie, I believe in freedom of speech. I don't think this commission should censor you at all. Her Facebook page is her opinion. And what her opinion is what she's speaking of her mind. Thank you.
Hello, Tom Hardy, 1904 10th Street. Before I get started, I do just kind of want to say, I do think it's nice that we do have a public forum here where people of all sorts of opinions and backgrounds can come here and speak for 5 minutes or 7 or so about their opinion. I do just genuinely value that. It sure beats Facebook, and I'm not going anywhere with this. I'm just sentimental. It really beats Facebook. So I do want to speak in support of Commissioner Runberg's resolution. I don't have a lot of fancy court cases prepared or statistics or anything. To me, I've gone through it. It just seems like a kind of a common sense piece of legislation. I mean, all it's really saying is that we're not going to suddenly make our, cops who are also our firefighters suddenly have a new job. I just, in my gut, it makes sense to me that you wouldn't suddenly take someone who's working one job and give them almost an entirely different position. I mean, that just inherently, it doesn't make any sense to me that we'd have our firefighters listening at keyholes, seeing if someone's got too strong of an accent or whatever. So I think that there is a reasonable pushback and fear of potential retribution from the federal government. And I'm sympathetic to that concern, but I do think that there are always going to be threats made against every group in any point in history. You're always going to have people threatening people for doing the right thing, for doing the wrong thing, for anything else. And I think that as a city, we kind of have an existential question of what Bay City is. And, we can have a leadership and a city that kind of hides our eyes and, we're ducking our head down because we don't want the big kid at the schoolyard to hit us because, we made eye contact with them. But that's not really what I want my Bay City and the future of Bay City to be. I want us to stand tall and be proud and to face challenges head on. I think that we had several generations of commissioners who kind of ducked their head and avoided eye contact with the bridge issues. I mean, they just kind of didn't pay attention to the funding. They hoped that the problem would go away. And I don't think that we can keep ducking our heads on issues. I don't think that we can just keep our heads down and hope that people don't notice Bay City and they'll be fine. I think that we do need to stand proud and make good ethical choices that will stand the test of time. That's all I've got. Thank you very much. Everyone have a good day.
Good evening. Nancy Jo Baker, first time at a commission meeting here. I came to speak on one thing. I promise I will be brief.
You just need to state your address. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. 1314 Kosciuszko. I heard that it was under discussion about the different parts of town and the city advisory groups. We had been living here for a couple of years before we even discovered there was such a thing. And we read in the news and in Facebook with interest when St. Stan's, they were discussing the traffic there, because that's 1 block from our business. We own Bay City Computers. We opened 2 years ago, nearly 2.5 years ago. I happened to run into, I believe his name is Forrest Robeson, who is the representative for South End. I ran into him and met him at a different function, and he introduced himself as who he was. And I was quite surprised. In the last year, there have been 2 Facebook posts from the group. I never read anything anywhere about the group other than their summer thing when they give stuff away. So my point is, if we're going to have the different area advisory groups, people have to know they're there and have input and know that their input is requested. Otherwise, the groups are no good. And that's what I had come to speak on. Second, just 1 sentence. I know you often advertise for people to apply to commissions. When people do apply to commissions, it would be nice if you're not even going to call them for an interview, if you at least would send a response saying, thank you for applying to this commission. We're not going to interview at this time, but perhaps in the future you could apply for something else instead of just ignoring applications. But after hearing some of the comments tonight, I did want to speak. I did come to speak in support of Runberg's resolution. I would expect my city commissioners to uphold their oaths to the Constitution. I assume that you also swear an oath to the Constitution just as other people who work for the government do. It's better to be proactive when we're being threatened in different ways. Grand Rapids has had no retribution from the measures that they have proactively taken to support immigrants. And by the way, I lived 65 years of my life in the middle of California, which is basically all immigrants. If people could immigrate legally, they would do it in a heartbeat. You have no idea how many years and money it takes to try to go through that process. The vast majority of our immigrants are law-abiding citizens. They want to be here to work, not to rape your kids. I would also expect my city government to rely on statistics, not hearsay. I hope to see you on other matters. Thank you for listening to my opinions. Good evening.
Richard Luzak, 1707 Fremont. I'm here to speak briefly about city contracts in general. I've been watching the City Commission for the last 20 years, and about 20 years ago, the city had a contract for sewer lining that went on for a couple seasons, and after a couple years, the city discovered it couldn't verify the work that it was being billed for that had actually been performed. It hired an outside contractor to do the inspection, and it was confirmed that the city was being billed for work that had not been performed. Beyond that, the city manager terminated the contract because the contractor had not supplied a performance bond,
in accordance with State Law 213 of 1963. That raises a couple questions there about whether contractors are supplying performance and payment bonds before a contract is awarded. That pertains to item 6 on the agenda with Shaw Contracting. Have they supplied these bonds? And I put that question to you. It's up to you to decide that. That incident made me think about whether the city has obtained performance bonds on other major projects like the roof replacement project and on the repair work that was done on City Hall after the fire and water damage. And for the current fiscal year, for example, has the city been given performance bonds for the installation of the trickling filters at the wastewater treatment plant, $1 million project, and has it been given a performance bond for the sewer lining, which is in the current sewer budget, again at a cost of $1 million. And because of the previous problem with sewer lining, is the city inspecting the work to see that we are getting what we are paying for? So 3 big issues come up with city contracts. First, are contractors providing performance bond before the work commences? Does the city explicitly require contractors follow any particular safety standards, protect workers, and to safeguard city infrastructure? And again, the fire during the roof replacement was a breakdown, certainly, of safety procedures. And also, there's a theoretical question there, in my mind, of whether the city itself should have had an inspector watching over what was going on in that project. I think I was an inspector myself at a nuclear power plant, and it occurs to me that the city should have had an inspector on that job. Third, does the city review each contract to determine what work needs to be inspected? These are standards that the City Commission ought to impose on city contracts. We need city inspectors to watch for work quality, work completion, and work safety. I hope that we have learned from lessons of the past. It's hard for the public, for me down in the south end, to know what's going on at City Hall, whether all these things are being checked off correctly. And then there's the matter of the contracts themselves. I looked around the internet for advice on reviewing contracts. The most important thing that's mentioned is that contracts should be crystal clear in meaning. The obligations and expectations of the parties should be spelled out completely. We don't hire, we shouldn't have to hire lawyers to either interpret the contracts or to inspect it to see that the terms of the contract have been met. Contracts are not written for lawyers. They're written for people who are not lawyers. The commission and the city ought to be able to read a contract and understand what it is, what it says, and what's going on. I'm just bewildered by the issues that there are, that we have to hire lawyers to figure it out. The lawyers should have been pressured into making the contracts legible and understandable before they were signed, not now. And what happens 20 years from now? Are we still going to be hiring lawyers to figure it out? I don't know. But to the new commission, I wanted to point out some important issues. I wanted to mention the name Robbie Waldo. Does that ring a bell? That's the 12-year-old that died during the construction of this building. He died in the building.
Commissioner Runberg.
I move to provide the speaker 2 more minutes.
Commissioner DeWitt.
Second.
Is there any objection? Seeing no one, you have 2 more minutes.
Just to finish that thought, I just want to remind you of the importance of safety in all the city contracts, and the city government at the time, back in 1894, did not have probably did not have that on the radar screen. They didn't even have radar screens. to be worried about whether a child was working on the project. But I think that when it comes around to contracts, you should think about safety, and you should give resources to the city manager for inspection when it's appropriate. Complicated projects, things like the roof. I ran across a quotation attributed to the former city manager regarding the roof contract. The general contractor was Gregory Construction. There was a subcontractor from St. Louis, I believe, who actually put the tiles up, and the city manager was quoted by the Bay City Times as saying, "I didn't even know we had a subcontractor." So I just call that to your attention that, I mean, even the commission and city staff has to look beneath the surface on contracts before you approve them. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to come forward for public input?
Good evening, Commissioners, Mayor Gerard. My name is Mason Pressler. I live at 409 Patterson Avenue. I've lived in Bay City my entire life, lived in the 9th Ward my entire life. I'm currently a student at Delta College, and I work part-time. I'm also the youngest elected official in Bay County. So being that I'm a young person in the politics business, I get a lot of questions about our declining population and what we can do to attract and retain young people in this community and get them to stay here. So this is a very complex issue. There isn't a single policy solution that will reverse this problem overnight and constantly start bringing people here in droves. But I think it's clear that we need to do that. Our infrastructure is crumbling. I'm sure we all know what had to happen with the bridges. Some of you were there for that vote. That was not an easy decision, whether you agree with it or not. I think moving forward, making sure that Bay City is a place that people want to be and that protects and invites young people, people of color, people of diverse backgrounds, that's important. And if we pass up the opportunity on this resolution today, on the resolution that Chris Rumberg is proposing, that's a failure. And I don't know how I can go back to young people in this community and say that this community cares about them. Because if you vote no on that, you're saying that it doesn't. Thank you.
Anybody else like to come forward for public input? Okay, seeing none, we're into public hearing. Oh, okay, come right up.
My name is Jeff Reed, 409 Fillmore. I am not a fan of the Bay City Bridge Partners. I'm highly against it, and we're going to have to all step up to the plate and put an end to this. I want to start out with this contract. I got this contract earlier. I went to the city manager's office. She was very helpful. It cost me $14.50. I'm not very good with words, but I explained it and she understood what I was trying to get. So I did receive the contract. I had a little bit of time to read through it. I didn't see anything in here that really helps us. This is the other contract from the Bay City Bridge Partners. When you get your transponder, you automatically entered into a contract with the Bay City Bridge Partners. So my question to this commission and the mayor, the city of Bay City, why am I required as a Bay City resident to enter into a contract with these thieves? You don't have to answer. You can tell me what the answer is at our next meeting. That's one of the questions. So these actually mean nothing to me. Now, moving on. I want to talk for a quick minute of that $5 million. The $5 million from the Bay City Bridge Partners, I'm going to say it again, we need to leave it in the bank. That money needs to be used for defending Bay City residents against the Bay City Bridge Partners for however long it takes. At the end of our legal battle, when all legal fees have been paid in full, Bay City residents will decide how to spend the balance. The only way we can help other people is to have our own house in order. Okay, I told you I was going to come here with a couple questions for you. I'm trying to figure out what is the law. So I Googled it, right? That's what the kids say to do. So my question was, can the Bay City Bridge Partners have your driver's license suspended for not paying a toll? Surprisingly enough, it popped up, no. Michigan law does not allow Bay City Bridge Partners to suspend a driver's license for unpaid tolls. Michigan law also does not allow vehicle registration renewals to be denied for unpaid tolls. Okay, with that being said, I mentioned this to somebody, and there's some bill called Michigan House Bill 5733. Someone said apparently this was passed in July of 2024. It's real sketchy. Everybody's having a difficult time on understanding this. So, let's see. Okay, now I got my notes. Thank you. Okay, I got my notepad here. I got two questions. We'll keep it real simple. To the City of Bay City and commissioners. Residents and visitors need to know what the law is. Number one, can the Bay City Bridge Partners use the Secretary of State to suspend your driver's license for unpaid tolls? Real simple. It says check yes or no. Number two, can Bay City Bridge Partners use the Secretary of State to deny your registration renewal for unpaid tolls? Simple answer. Check yes or no. I'll hold this up so you can all see it. You're all welcome to take a photograph of this after the end of the meeting. Someone said they'd hold this? Yeah, I got you, man. Thank you, sir. Okay, somebody else mentioned that Bay City Bridge Partners don't like them very much. Well, I know they ain't gonna like me. Because in my opinion, they're trying to bankrupt us, right? Well, we need to bankrupt them before they bankrupt us. So here's my suggestion. We're going to bankrupt the Bay City Bridge Partners. Number one, you need to close your account. Number two, you need to remove your transponder. This is just a little note. Everybody can see it.
Time.
Commissioner Runberg.
Move to give the speaker 2 more minutes.
Is there support? Commissioner Coakley?
Support.
Any objection? Seeing none, the speaker has 2 more minutes.
Thank you. Any other volunteers?
Dollar store duct tape.
Okay. I do understand that there is a legal system we have to go through, and you guys are getting beat up on it a little bit. But at the end of the day, we cannot negotiate with these crooks. And I'm telling you what, if the city makes a decision on how we're going to handle this or let them slide on this contract, that's going to be very bad for everybody. It's just ridiculous. anything that you guys are gonna decide on or agree to, it needs to come to us, the people of Bay City, so we can all let you know what we think. But I think what's gonna happen is you guys continue with what you need to do legally, okay? I understand that part. And we, the people, we need to boycott these bridges. We boycott these bridges, we bankrupt Bay City Bridge Partners. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to come forward for public input? Okay, next order of business calls for a public hearing. This is the opportunity for citizens to address the commission regarding public hearing. The ordinance amendment to the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 78, Parks and Recreation, Article 2, Section 7811, establishing a Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission. Is there a motion for the public hearing? Commissioner DeWitt.
Motion the public hearing on public hearing 1 regarding Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission.
Is there a second? Commissioner Rundberg.
Second.
Okay, at this. So, under rules of the City Commission, each speaker will be allowed 5 minutes to speak. Commissioner Coakley will serve as the timekeeper. Oh, we already approved that. Anyone wishes to address the commission regarding public hearing item, please come forward, sign the registration sheet, and state your name and address for the record. No, we actually didn't for that. So, all right, so no one's come forward. We got special orders. So, next order of business, special orders. Will the clerk read the next item on the agenda?
City Manager recommending ordinance amendment to the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 78, Parks and Recreation, Article 2, Section 78-11, establishing a Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission. Recommendation approved.
Is there a motion? Commissioner Prince?
Motion to approve.
Second, Commissioner Coakley?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll on the motion adopt?
Commissioner Charlebois?
Yes.
Morris?
Yes.
Prince?
Yes.
Coakley?
Yes.
Bernie Obershaw?
Yes.
Hilliker?
Yes.
DeWitt?
Yes.
Rundberg?
Yes.
8 yes.
All right, motion passes. Next order of business is items on the regular agenda. Will the clerk please read the next item of business?
From consent item 6, the city manager recommending contract with Shaw Contracting, Bay City, for the McKinley Avenue reconstruction project in the amount of $3,088,959.31.
Is there a motion? Okay. Commissioner Charlebois?
Make a motion.
All right, is there a second? Commissioner Coakley?
Second.
All right, discussion. Commissioner Coakley?
Real quick on this, there's a meeting tomorrow. Is that pertaining to this?
It is, yes.
Okay, and meeting is 4 to 5:30 in City Hall, correct?
Correct.
All right. Basically, we're just passing this for now, and we can look at changing it later. Anything to it? I'm talking about once again, this has bike paths in it in front of Washington School. And if we're going to widen Washington School, the road in front of Washington School, McKinley, I feel as somebody who lives in that neighborhood, a parking or pickup area for that school, during the school times in the morning and afternoon, we're blocking all the way up to Johnson Street on that too. So I just want to see if there's something that we can amend later on this.
It's not, because this project is ready to go. This is just to award the contract to a contractor. So there's no changes as far as the scope goes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion? Okay, will the clerk please call the roll on the motion to adopt?
Commissioner Morris?
Yes.
Prince?
Yes.
Coakley?
Yes.
Yes.
Bernie Obershaw? Hilliker?
Yes.
DeWitt?
Yes.
Rundberg?
Yes.
Charlebois?
Yes.
8 yes.
Motion's adopted. Will the clerk please read the next item of business?
From consent, item 9, Commissioner Prince's resolution regarding notification to the City Commission after a FOIA request was made regarding their information.
Is there a motion? Commissioner Prince.
Motion to approve.
Is there support? Commissioner Rundberg.
Second.
Discussion. Commissioner Prince.
Yes, I brought this resolution forward. I removed it from the consent agenda just because I believe that we should have a roll call, individual roll call vote on this resolution. I brought it forward because we had an issue where a member got FOIA'd and didn't realize they got FOIA'd and why it was in the newspaper. This would just give members a heads up after the response, not during, that their information has been given to a third party that FOIA'd their information. So that is the intent behind the resolution, and I hope everyone supports it.
Any other discussion? Okay, will the clerk please call the roll call on the motion to adopt?
Commissioner Prince.
Yes.
Coakley.
Yes.
Bernie Obershaw.
Yes.
Hilliker.
Yes.
DeWitt.
Yes.
Rundberg.
Yes.
Charlebois.
Yes.
Morris.
Yes.
8 yes.
Motion's adopted. Will the clerk please read the next item of business?
From consent, item 11, Commission as a whole resolution supporting application to the Bay Area Community Foundation for an Economic Development Fund grant in the amount of $14,000 to install lights along the 700 block of Midland Street.
Is there a motion? Commissioner Rundberg.
Move to approve.
Is there support? Commissioner Hilliker.
Second.
Second, thank you. Any discussion? Commissioner Prince.
Yes, I removed this item from the consent agenda because my former partner works at the Bay Area Community Foundation, and I am still working through separation of our finances, and out of respect to the conflict of interest form, I'm abstaining from the vote, which is why I'm removing this from the consent agenda for a regular roll call. So I will abstain from here on out.
Okay. Any other discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the motion to adopt?
Commissioner Coakley.
Yes.
Bernie Obershaw.
Yes.
Hilliker.
Yes.
DeWitt.
Yes.
Rundberg.
Yes.
Charlebois.
Yes.
Morris.
Yes.
And Prince.
Abstain.
7 yes.
All right, the motion's adopted. Will the clerk please read the next item of business?
Regular agenda, item 1, Commissioner Prince's resolution creating a working committee to study and recommend actions and coordination of services for Public Safety Department.
Is there a motion? Commissioner Prince.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Commissioner Charlebois.
Second.
Discussion. Commissioner Prince.
I don't see
Wait,
that.
oh, I'll get you right next.
This was a idea that came to between me and the mayor regarding how we plan for our public safety infrastructure. I believe this is a good way of creating a holistic vision that doesn't just look 1-2 years down the road, but 30 years down the road, especially as we try to right-size our infrastructure to fit the needs and population of our city. So I look forward to working with the individuals who are being appointed to this commission. If you're a member who's not appointed to this commission, your input's still very much needed, and you can send me that input, and I will make sure it's taken into account. The one thing we do need to be sure of, though, is that we don't have more than 5 members at the commission meeting, or at the committee meeting, just to avoid any kind of issues with the Open Meetings Act. So with that, I would appreciate your support. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Bernie Overshaw, you have some questions?
Yes, was that a resolution he was just talking about?
Yes, it is.
Okay, we don't have it. Where is it?
It was released last Wednesday. Yep, it was on the agenda last
Well, I didn't have it last Wednesday either because it's here. None of us have it.
It was in the commission. I looked last Wednesday when they released the commission packet. It was released.
Okay, well, it wasn't just like this one, you know, no one, this is all sitting on his desk. No one got this, you know, from the resolution either. So what's up with this passage,
Stay
you know,
on the-
having resolutions written, and they're not even, they don't even have the resolutions? You know, I want to know what's up.
Point of order.
That's sneaky shit.
Point of order. This was on the regular agenda in the commission packet. We're referring to regular item number 1, resolution regarding working committee to study and recommend actions for coordination of services for public safety department.
No, Mr. Prince, I'm talking about the one where you're trying to censor me.
So
Nobody
that's
got
not where
this.
that's not what we're talking
not
about.
talking about
We're
that.
talking about. No, you can't. You can't. That is not germane to. So if you want to talk about this, the what we're discussing right now, you can. That'll come up shortly, and you can talk about it then. So everybody has the one we're talking about, and they received it last Wednesday. Yep, and then you can talk about it when we bring it up for vote. So I'll set on that one. Okay. Anybody else on the current motion? Is there any other discussion? Okay. Would the clerk please call the roll on the motion to adopt?
Commissioner Bernie Obershaw.
I'm dumbfounded. No.
Commissioner Hilliker.
Yes.
DeWitt.
Yes.
Runberg.
Yes.
Charlebois.
Yes.
Morris.
Yes.
Prince.
Yes.
Coakley.
Yes.
7 yes.
The motion's been adopted. Will the clerk please read the next item of business?
Regular agenda item 2, Commissioner Runberg's resolution regarding immigration enforcement.
Is there a motion? Commissioner Runberg.
I'd like to move to table.
Okay. Is there any objection to move to table? Commissioner Charlebois, you object?
No.
Oh, okay. So you don't, I don't think we need, do we need a second to table? We do? Okay, so Commissioner Charlebois has supported move to table. Is there any objection to table the item? Is there a time frame or till when?
Next meeting?
Okay, till next meeting. Is there objection to that? All right, Commissioner Hilliker.
I object because I feel like if we're going to table, we need a reason why. So that's where my objection is at.
So I feel that an issue of this magnitude, based on the response that we've had from our community, suggests that we should have all of our commissioners present before we have a vote on it.
Okay, nope, now's not the time for that. Thank you. So is there any objection then? So you formally object, is that, okay. So we need to take a roll call on objection to wait till the next meeting. So roll call.
The roll call will be on the motion to table.
So the roll call is on the motion to table. So a yes is you want to table, a no is you want to vote today.
Correct. Commissioner Hilliker.
No.
DeWitt.
Yes.
Runberg.
Yes.
Charlebois.
Yes.
Morris.
Yes.
Prince.
No.
Coakley.
No.
Bernie Obershaw.
Yes.
6 yes.
Okay, so the item has been tabled to the next meeting.
Madam Clerk, 5.
Oh,
Sorry.
thank you. So the item still is tabled to the next meeting. All right, will the clerk please read the next item of business?
Regular agenda item 3, Commissioner Charlebois' resolution regarding obtaining bids to repair the roof at station number 5 and identify funding sources.
Is there a motion? Commissioner Charlebois.
Move to amend. I have some.
So you have to move to approve first before we actually amend. So move to approve?
Yes.
Okay, is there a second? Commissioner Runberg.
Second.
All right, discussion, now's the time. Commissioner Charlebois.
Okay, the reason I want to amend is because I had a few minor typos, and I have it corrected. I don't know how proper way to handle that, I can hand it out to everyone if that's okay.
So you can do it, or you could read it and then get it to the clerk afterwards to make sure that it's printed properly. I don't, how significant, how many changes do you have?
Just a couple words.
Okay, so the clerk will come and get those and she can
If I read it tonight, will it be voted on tonight?
Yes, if the body agrees to vote on it tonight.
You want me to go ahead and read it? I'll read it. This is my resolution. It's actually for the commission if they vote on it. It says, whereas the city manager and public safety director closed and abandoned Station number 5 on July 15, 2024, without knowledge or approval of the city commissioner or the mayor, and whereas this station is located in a highly populated area comprised of many elderly residents, an industrial park, and numerous businesses, and whereas one of the reasons stated for this closure was the safety of the firefighting staff due to a leaking roof and resulting mold, and whereas this abandoned building is a property of the city and a valuable asset that needs to be maintained and repaired before further damage can occur, thus making any repairs more costly. Be it therefore resolved that the City Commission direct the city manager to obtain the appropriate number of bids for the necessary repairs to the roof and interior of Station 5 and provide copies of said bids to the Commission for examination, and be it further resolved that the Commission direct the city manager to identify funding sources for the purpose of making the necessary repairs to the roof and interior of Station 5 to ensure the stability and integrity of this valuable asset. That's it.
All right. What is specifically changed? Well, if this was passed out, this is what everybody has that, right? So why don't we just do a wholesale replacement of this? So as amended with replacement, is that? So if you'd like to make a motion as amended with this new verbiage, that would be appropriate.
Motion to approve?
As amended.
Motion as amended.
Okay. Motion to amend by replacing in full, I've been told, is the correct. Yep, so you better say it. Go ahead, Jamie.
Motion to amend
by replacing in full.
By replacing in full.
I now pronounce you man in resolution. No,
thank you.
Is there a second on that? Commissioner Runberg.
Second.
All right, more discussion. Commissioner DeWitt.
So I was less for this at one point because I was under the assumption of the 5-minute rule applied to all public safety back when it was discussed earlier. And I just want to note that over the weekend and 2 weeks ago at the place of work where my brother is employed, had 2 assaults, one physical to him and one directly to the store. And response time for both was well over 10 minutes. So I am now, before I was like, okay, we can work around, we can figure things out temporarily. Now I am much more in favor of keeping things open than I was. Just want to put that out there.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Hilliker.
So I'm not opposed to opening up for bids to see where we might go. My biggest problem, and I think we might have lost the train of thought with this one, is that buildings do not save lives. It's the firefighters who do. When our department gave us this presentation, along with it came the staffing plans and the hardship on the department to be able to fill all the current buildings available at a level that was safe. And if I'm not, I might be a little bit mistaken, but I believe there was only 1 or 2 people who were able to be at that station. And that's the key piece to this. right? A building does not save the life, the firefighters do. And if we don't have a plan for staffing, it doesn't matter if we have a beautifully renovated building.
All set, Commissioner? Okay, I get any new commissioners that want to say? I want to get new commissioners first who haven't spoken. Commissioner Prince?
A question to the city manager. If we were to pass this tonight, how long would it take to properly get bids?
So we're going to have to come up with a scope. So we're going to have to get together with public safety, which is going to take some time for us to do a scope. And I recommend that when we do have, get this scope together and the bidding documents together, that we have a walkthrough, because I don't think it's fair to have contractors bid on a building that's in this type of shape. So I think there needs to be a walkthrough by contractors prior. And then we're going to have to put it out for bid for 30 days and then get the bids back to review them. It's going to take, it's going to take time. It's not just a couple-week process.
Okay, and if we were to put this out to bid, just to see where the numbers are at, it would take, obviously, a good amount of staff time,
Yes.
so that would factor into the cost.
Yes.
And if we say, never mind, does that damage our relationship with contractors for them to spend their time doing that and then for us to decide not to move forward with it?
In my opinion, yes, you've hit a good point, because the contractors probably have been watching the news, right? That we've had this closed for a while. And if it's not going to be taken seriously that we're going to rehabilitate the entire building, they probably will not put a bid in. And if we do get bids, they're probably going to be high.
Okay, all right. Those were my questions. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Coakley, and then I'll swing my way back.
I think Commissioner Prince answered or asked the questions I was looking for. I think I'm good here.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Charlevoix?
Yes, I just want to say that this is preserving an asset. If the roof's left to go, it's going to get worse shape, and it'll be harder to fix and cost more. And once those bids come in, I'll bring it to the floor to vote on repairing it. It's not like the contractors are voting on nothing. I will write a resolution that we do fix the roof and find the money for it. And I realize that, Commissioner Hilliker, I realize that it won't be manned yet, but my thing is that we should be moving steadily towards a good fire department, manned with the proper equipment and good buildings and located at four corners of the city so we have good response time. Mr. DeWitt just mentioned something personally. And response time is everything. And as you all know, they don't just do fire calls, they do medical calls. And if someone's having a heart attack and they're the first responder that might save somebody's life, this really is a matter of life and death. And some of the other things I saw about building a new station, well, the station I'm talking about, 5, will be reopened. They're going to close the South End station. They're going to be in the same position as the banks now. So that's not going to work either. And I got to tell you, if you go through the South End, I see a lot of burned out buildings down there. It's pretty striking. That's all I have to say.
All right, thank you. Commissioner DeWitt, have you spoken yet? Okay, Commissioner Runberg, then DeWitt.
I was just going back to, I mean, it's germane to Station 5 here, but for the resolution that we just passed for Commissioner Prince's committee wants to put together for Department of Public Safety, these are the types of things that we would be looking into on that particular committee, right?
Yes.
That's what I thought. So, I mean, I don't think it would hurt having a bid out there so we have something, a starting point to look at to understand what it's going to take. That's all.
All right, thank you. Commissioner DeWitt?
Mine was along similar lines, but I was looking to see if Commissioner Prince had a timeline for a results, anything at this point. I know we're past it just now, so I'm not expecting you to have a hard thing, but did you have a projected timeline for results to come to the whole commission?
No, because we haven't started the work yet, so I don't know what that looks like yet, how much we have to dig into it, but I would hope this would be a part of the conversation, obviously.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Charlevoix.
One more thing, it would be good if when the committee's formed and also looking at possibly putting out a fire millage to take care of all these problems with the fire department, including staffing, so we could get 5 back up to full staffing. That's all I got.
All right, Commissioner Morris, do you have anything?
I'm gonna be voting yes on this because anything that goes towards Station 5 reopening, I am always going to vote yes on because I want it to reopen. This is not a primary issue. The roof is not a primary issue. The primary issue is the staffing. And if we do not get a hold of being able to properly staff that fire station, this will be a waste. And I do not want it to be a waste. I am going to vote yes. Just understand that this is not the primary goal when it comes to keeping that station open. Without staffing, there's no fire station.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anybody else? Okay, will the clerk please call the roll? Motion adopt. Well, is there any objection on the amendment? I don't see anyone, so we'll vote on the motion.
So this will be the motion as amended. Commissioner DeWitt.
Yes.
Grunberg.
Yes.
Charlevoix.
Yes.
Morris.
Yes.
Prince.
Yes.
Coakley.
Yes.
Bernie Obershaw.
Yes.
Hilliker.
Yes.
8 yes.
All right, will the clerk please read the next item of business?
Resolution regarding censure of Commissioner Bernie Obershaw.
Is there a motion? Commissioner Prince.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Commissioner Hilliker.
Second.
Discussion. Commissioner Bernie Obershaw.
First of all, I'd like to say something about haunting people's Facebook pages. Yes, I said what I said is freedom of speech on my Facebook page. But before I say it, I'm going to say it anyways. Okay, I'm not going to say what I called you, but it's my Facebook page. Why are you on my Facebook page like that? That is ridiculous. People can say what they want to say. But anyways, I'm going to say what I'm going to say about this resolution about haunting people's Facebook pages. This is ridiculous. This resolution wasn't even on everybody's desk. Nobody even knew about it. And to be censored in the rules, to be censored, it's called a reprimand first. You reprimand someone. You do not give them a paper, a resolution to be censored. You guys don't even know what you're doing. You didn't even put it on everyone's desk to let them know it was even on the agenda. I mean, you guys are so petty. And then you screenshot my Facebook page to do something so ridiculous because I said, like our president says, on my Facebook, I said, if my president will tell you exactly what he wants you to know because exactly the way he feels about you, the way I feel about our President Prince, I'm going to say it and I'm going to walk out. I said, if my president can say, fuck you, and you ain't nothing but a little bitch, I'm going to say it exactly the way I feel.
Sorry.
You do nothing for the city. Nothing.
All right.
Nothing. The people need you. Instead of you sniffing up her ass, do your job.
All right. Commissioner Coakley is the Sergeant of Arms here.
Can we, what's my point line here?
You can kick her out if she doesn't want to. She's disrupting the meeting.
Can we have her taken away, please? Yeah.
All right, yep.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Prince.
So
Excuse me in the audience, please.
So, a couple of things. I'm going to remain composed and professional because that's who I am. Your friend requested me like 2 months ago, so I'm not haunting your Facebook. It popped up on my news feed. Two, I didn't. Okay. And second, we have a policy on the city commission that was passed in 2019 that's directly cited in the resolution. That resolution and that policy was violated, and when you break a rule on the commission, we should hold each other accountable. If I were to do this, I would expect my colleagues to hold me accountable too. That is why this is being brought forward. We have standards on this commission to act professional, and that's my belief. So that's all I have to say about it. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer.
All right, Commissioner.
What was the swear word used? Bitch, was that the word that you used for her breaking the rules? Because technically that's not a swear word. It's a female dog. Did she say anything else that
Well,
was a swear word?
she repeated what she said.
Huh?
She already said what she said on Facebook.
Well, that's a different issue because we're talking about something that happened in the past over the weekend. And I want to know, in particular, wait a minute. I got the floor right now, by the way, Mr. Prince. You're talking over me. Mr. Coakley?
Yes.
Was that the word is that word in particular? You said if a swear word is used.
I'm finding the screenshot.
Because technically it's not a swear word. And we could be done with this. We could have been, it's not even legit claim. I'm not saying it wasn't mean-spirited, but
Just got a copy of it right before the meeting, so I'm looking for it right now. I have a couple here. One about the police, which is part of this.
I didn't see the one. I saw an email on our official email, and I didn't see anything about
That's the
police.
same one I have as that email.
I don't think the police were mentioned in that email.
I will read it, but just the person, well, can I bring it to you? Because
sure.
I'm not one that uses profanity, so
Is this the email we got, our official email? Or is this from Facebook?
Should spin the rules.
Yeah, I see it. Well, I didn't see her post. I just got the official email. That's all.
All right. I will make a comment. I did have several residents reach out to me concerned about this. I didn't see it directly, but that they did express to me concern over this, and they wanted to see some action taken. So I'll just make that clear. I did have several people reach out to me about it. All right, Commissioner DeWitt.
All right. Well, so my issue is with the censor is not what just happened tonight. It's when this rule was put in place, the first person that was targeted against was me when I was on the Charter Commission about something that was unrelated to city business. And I believe that this rule could be used in a ham-fisted manner as it's written. As for the post, that's, you got to remember that in this chamber for the 7 of us who are left, that we need to focus on what the process of that post and that system, not what happened tonight. What happened tonight, I do believe, was above and beyond conduct by a major sort. But the social media can be a different beast, and I do believe this rule going forward, I'll be looking at a way to try to make it either easier to understand for everyone or work on an adjustment of some sort. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Hilliker.
And just so everybody knows, like, these are things that every commissioner gets when you start out. It's part of your onboarding process. You know the rules. And she did it knowing what the rules were and knowing that this was going to be the result.
Commissioner Coakley.
Did she break any rules?
Commissioner Prince.
Yeah, I would, I mean, that's the question of the resolution. Did she? I would say she did. One, I sent out a reminder of social media policy and rules of the commission on Friday, February 21st. So she had this in her inbox. She is aware of the policy. Additionally, the question regarding her personal Facebook, she cited at the start of the post, this is Commissioner Andrea Bernie Obershaw. So she identifies herself as commissioner, and which makes it an official post of her. I know that's splitting hairs, but when we're splitting hairs, she's on the wrong side of this. So that's why this is being brought forward.
Thank you. Anybody else? Commissioner Coakley?
Yeah, like I said, with me being tasked with this because of the position I'm in, that's one thing. I was on the fence with it, and I'm trying to stay focused on this issue at hand, but I cannot look past what happened, even though I have to try to do that, but it's just, if it's happening now or happening later, when's it gonna happen?
Any other discussion? Commissioner Morris.
I'm going to be voting yes on the censure. This isn't the first time she's broken policy. She knows the policy. She's aware of the policy. She continues to break the policy. And how she acted tonight has nothing to do with the policy. Well, it has nothing to do with this censure, but it doesn't help her case when she doesn't want to be censured or she gets upset when we censure her. That was ridiculous, and I'm sick of seeing it. So yeah, I'll be voting yes on the censure.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Hilliker?
Would it be possible to, just for, so that the public knows as well, just to quickly explain what a censure is?
Sure. Censure is a formal reprimand, if you will, of the body. So it can include, depending on the body, what that does, it could mean suspension on different committees that individual serves on. For this purpose, it's really more of a reprimand that you shouldn't do this kind of action again. You've broken the rules, and the commission is just saying you broke those rules. Please do not do those, break those rules again. So, Commissioner Coakley.
So she'll still have her voting right and an ability to speak in meetings?
Yeah, officially there's nothing stripped of her. This is a formal reprimand. It's really what the authority the body has towards somebody to kind of say, don't do it again.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Prince?
Call the question.
All right, any objection? All right, motion made, call the question. Please do a roll call vote.
Commissioner Renberg.
No.
Charlebois.
No.
Morris.
Yes.
Prince.
Yes.
Coakley.
Yes.
Hilliker.
Yes.
DeWitt.
No.
Vote is 4-3.
So motion dies for lack of support. Is there any other business tonight?
There is not.
Seeing none, we see you in 2 weeks.